Unhealthy boundaries are interpersonal limits that are either too rigid or overly porous, causing detrimental consequences in our relationships. Now, rigid boundaries are those that involve being overly closed or unresponsive, making it difficult for an emotional connection or intimacy, while on the other hand, overly porous boundaries are those that involve excessive openness, where individuals struggle to assert their own needs and also tend to be overly caught up in other people's lives as well. Now, of course, unhealthy boundaries come with lots and lots of issues, but one issue that really stands out for me is that individuals might find it difficult to have a sense of individual identity in a relationship. Isn't that too bad? Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the reasons why people might be struggling or might struggle with unhealthy boundaries. I'm Maria, and please welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, you're welcome. And please don't forget to like, share, comment, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. And of course, if you want to get these videos, these kinds of videos that I make, like every time I put it up, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be able to get notified every time I put out some really good video. When you fail to clearly define your values and priorities and limits could be physical limits, psychological limits, emotional limits, all that, right? It's going to be very challenging for you to align your boundaries with your principles. And this lack of clarity results in either consistent or weak boundaries that people might easily disregard or even overstep. They might not be able to take your boundaries so seriously. Let's say, for instance, someone who struggles with self-worth might find it difficult to assert themselves in a romantic relationships, and therefore leading to a pattern of accepting disrespectful behavior. Without well-defined limits, individuals might actually experience feelings of being taken advantage of, and therefore creating a cycle of interactions that might hinder personal growth or hinder someone's well-being. So an overly agreeable person is the kind of person that just prioritizes the needs and desires of other people to the expense of their own well-being, right? So these people find themselves just agreeing to the demands of other people or just doing things for other people, even if what they're doing is quite uncomfortable for them. They will just keep on doing or meeting the expectations of other people simply because they just do not like disappointing other people. They are people pleasers. They just have that fear of not being liked. So let's say, for instance, an overly agreeable person might find it challenging to assert themselves in a demanding work environment consistently, taking on excessive workloads to accommodate colleagues or superiors, causing them to neglect their own needs, leading to constant burnout. And of course, because this person has created a cycle of boundary violation, this is going to heavily affect their mental and emotional well-being. If you're the kind of person who has poor communication skills, it's going to be very hard for you to express your limits, your needs, and concerns. And also, it's going to be very hard for you to assert yourself in relationships. And this is actually going to contribute to consistent struggles with unhealthy boundaries. When your communication is ineffective or unclear, it's going to cause a lot of misunderstandings or misinterpretations, making it difficult for you to establish clear boundaries in your relationships. Let's say, for example, someone with poor communication skills might struggle to communicate their discomfort with certain behaviors, allowing others to overstep their boundaries unknowingly. And additionally, if you're unable to articulate your personal boundaries to others, it's going to create some sort of disrespect from others and further perpetuate the cycle of unhealthy relationships in your life. Codependence is a pattern of behavior where people excessively rely on other people, especially for validation, acceptance, and a sense of worth. So these people are the kinds of people that excessively also care so much for other people because they have this fear of being left alone, or they just do not like being alone, right? And this might cause them to neglect their personal boundaries in order for them to just accommodate people in their lives. Let's say you have pneumonia, or you have respiratory issues or medical conditions that do not allow you to inhale smoke. So your friends come over to your house, and just because you have this codependent kind of personality, you'll be able to be okay with them smoking or doing drugs in your house, just because you just don't want to be left alone. And of course, the inability to set clear boundaries is going to result in a cycle of unhealthy boundaries and personal dissatisfaction, because you as an individual, you fail to prioritize your own well-being. If you grew up being surrounded by people that set poor boundaries, managing proper ones might actually be very challenging. Let's say, for example, you might think invading someone's personal space is okay just because your parents and your siblings do that to you at home, but it might not be okay in that community. You might think that taking your best friend's or new friend's property without the consent or their permission is okay, but she might not be cool with it. So you have to educate yourself about boundaries, or you have to be around people that actually make some boundaries, some really good boundaries, to be able to have some knowledge about them. And then on the other hand, if you're the kind of person without an understanding of your own needs and limits, then it's going to be very hard for you to actually communicate or express yourself. And therefore, this will allow others to infringe upon your boundaries, causing feelings of discomfort, stress, and dissatisfaction in relationships. When one has low self-esteem, they might feel like their needs or limits or concerns are not worth vocalizing. And they might also feel like they don't have an identity of their own. Instead, these people might actually prioritize the needs or the concerns of other people. So as a result, people might fail to recognize your discomfort, your needs, or even your concern. And if this goes on and on, it might cause emotional exhaustion, resentment, and also a cycle of unfulfilling relationships in your life. When you're the kind of person that fears conflicts, you might prioritize avoiding confrontations over asserting your own needs. This fear often stems from the desire to maintain harmony, to avoid damaging relationships, fear of rejection, fear of upsetting others. Let's say, for example, if someone is always coming at you, like you're trying to give an opinion in the office meeting, but this person is always coming at you, trying to disagree with you, but also in a disrespectful way. Instead of confronting this person, you just lay back and be like, oh, it's okay. I'm not going to do anything. It's okay. I back off. But a person who is not afraid of confronting someone that is being disrespectful to them will definitely stand up for themselves, despite the fact that there could be some sort of damage or ruckus in the meeting or within the relationship as a co-worker. They might stand up for themselves and say, you know what, we might not disagree on this, but you should not be speaking to me that way. For instance, so someone might set strict rules within a relationship, limiting their partner's social interactions. However, when it comes to their own behavior, they might conveniently ignore or bend the rules to suit their desires. So this creates a power dynamic where actually one person manipulates the rules to gain dominance or to maintain control. So while the other person adhering to the rules is being exploited and the other is enjoying the flexibility of the rules. At the end of the day, that one that is trying to have that desire of control in the relationship is the one that is actually creating a cycle of unhealthy boundaries in their lives.